Hey everybody, Rodham here for another episode of the Desert Survival Series. So last episode we had a little bit of spoilage, some rotten camels, no fault of my own. It was a solar flare, and honestly, there's not much of a way to avoid that. One thing I am curious about is this item stash. Obviously, threats unknown. I have no idea what is protecting it, and there's really no way for me to tell, unfortunately. But alas, I am interested. Okay, so what we also did last episode is get some NPM cooking up for our Pudge and Mudge camels. I am going to, let's see about this. I think if I change the food here, Earth, I'm going to edit bad food to NPM only. That will actually make him consume less food per day than what he was currently doing, which was eating raw, which is kind of dreadfully inefficient, if I'm being honest. So when Earth goes to make some NPM, we can have him also cook up some for the camels. That also means that I need a cold spot for the camels to have access to, so that we can offer them NPM, not have it rot, which is, I think, the greater challenge, because I don't really have the capacity to do that at this very moment with the base I currently have. So that is a thought that I'm gonna work towards. But let's look at these needs. Their needs are a little low right now, and Earth might need food soon, but not quite yet. Now, I did want to make more progress on my mini kill box. I think it's probably important that I take my own security seriously. So, in the interest of that, I'm going to flagstone up all around it. So that we can travel around the back of the kill box more easily and from cover to cover, etc., etc. Obviously, I'm not done with the whole design, but what we have laid out now is a pretty good start. I'm going to forbid one of these. It's a work in progress. Soon we'll be done eating all the insect meat, which will be pretty cool. Alright, so here Earth goes. Oh, I thought he was going to get a meal, but he wasn't. It is unbelievably hot out right now, which is why even the kitchen is having trouble keeping frozen. An airlock door would be actually pretty wise to do. So I'm kind of brainstorming how to airlock it, but also how to not mess up what's currently laid out. I'll have to keep thinking about that. Earth here is eating the wrong food because I misclicked. Of course I noticed. Alright, let's have him crank out a bunch of NPM. Alright, that will work. And now, unforbid it. And now the question is how to get it to the camels without it spoiling. What I can try to do here is see about making sure, well, let's initially try to put it out here and see if they will eat it fast enough that it won't spoil. That might not be the case. It's going to spoil in 4 days. Like I said, I'm not sure if that's enough time. Might be. And we're slowly replanting all of our farms because, of course, we had the solar power event that knocked out power everywhere, which sucks. It happens, but it sucks when it does. Also, flagstone. I'm going to use a lot of flagstone in order to get... Let's look at their desire path. Their desire path is sort of diagonal. So we'll lay it out as such. Now looking around, I have some overhead roof that I can get rid of. And then we're going to need some more sandstone because I am going through it unbelievably quickly. So as I've said before, I'm interested in shaving down the mountain to increase the footprint of the base. And that coincides hand in hand with being able to craft up some more blocks. Alright, the spare NPM I am not going to allow in here. In fact, no foods should be allowed in there. The spare NPM will be allowed in here, in the vegetable section. So as you can see, Mudge and Pudge are eating it. That's great. We're getting plenty of lovely chunks out of all the mining that we're doing. Working towards our Killbox project. And reclaiming some space while we're at it. The freezer is mostly frozen, which is good. Now, one easy solution would be this. Let me do this. So this is low veg. This is low meat. Low veg is going to become low meat. So we're going to store raw food meat in here. It's preferred, but I call it low and don't allow rotten. And then low veg here. Let's call it veg storage. Will not include this area here. And we'll have them flip-flop the storages so that there's a little bit of space for the NPM near the door. And in fact, this would be even easier if I move the door down a little bit. So I'm going to very quickly work on that because it leaves a gaping hole in the base while I'm doing it. Come on, construct. And then deconstruct this one. Move the steel. Drop some marble in there. I have to go run for some marble. And we're also going to want marble tiles just to match, because that's our current theme. So I'm grabbing the... There we go. Perfect. That will be even better. So now... we can bring it down like this. Maybe like that. That'll work. And then what will happen is this NPM will get put in here, and we can give camels access to it. Actually, I will shrink it away from the door. I'm not sure if they can eat diagonally, but I don't want them standing in the door while eating it. So let's go haul a lot of stuff, and we have scattered mechanoids. Bummer. Trying to get productive stuff done. Okay, Jenny, you are in a good spot. It's kind of hard to account for everywhere they land. So we're building the flagstone. All right, let's try to do a little head count. So we have a lancer, a scyther, it looks like, from a distance. Yeah, there's a little bit of everywhere. Lancer. What got real close? Scyther. Okay. It's a little awkward when they're entering from the other side here. So all I need to do is turn this off. Goes attacks the turret it's supposed to. And turn everything else on. I don't think anything landed on the wrong side of our walls, so we can bring everyone down. Alright, shutting this off because it's taking too much damage. And I might be able to attract the Scyther to come attack my pawns. Ideally. Who are you shooting? Trying to shoot Jenny, I think. No, trying to shoot the mini turret. It's okay, this slug turret is putting a lot of work in. All you guys can probably go and relax. We might not even need you. I know, sad, right? You don't have power. That's because I turned you off. Because you were taking a beating. So let's repair you. Checking this turret. Oh, that works. Didn't want it to take too much damage. Okay, so we have a lancer, a scyther. Our shield belts are holding up. And we will shut off the uranium so we don't get a accidental friendly fire. I think we're done. No, we are not done. Oh yeah, we must be because it's targeting a dead one as a potential enemy. So we're all set. Jenny, I'm going to go trigger the fire foam popper. And then that also means I'm going to want, let's see, a sandstone auto door. Well, we usually don't go out that hole, so maybe it's going to be fine. All right, so the reason I did that is, if we look at the move speed. Oh, you know what? If I put them in the dark, they'll have lower move speed too. Right? Yeah, that's a thing. So I'm going to try to roof everything off. And I can always have roof traps too. That wouldn't be a terrible idea. So we'll try to add as much roofing as we can there. That attack wasn't that terrible. I was in the middle of something and I was rudely interrupted, wasn't I? changing the NPM layout. So, Mr. Camels, Mr. Animal Camels, you will be allowed to enter this part of the kitchen, but no further north. And them is the rules. Okay, we're almost... I think we're done with these spoiled camels. That's a real shame. Now I think the camels can self-feed, which is useful, helpful. Also doing slight changes in the sandbag layout, just to make it a little bit easier. This won't be a door. Actually, no, that will be a door. Yeah, I want to get rid of that. We don't even have to allow the slag. We're grabbing it wherever it is, bringing it back to the base. A little bit of a long haul, but it's free steel still. So we did mine out that one area here. We can reinstall this up here for the other steel that we found. So if we wanted to have deadfall, potential deadfall traps, best way to do it is just to put one little wooden pillar there and let the sky fall on it. Alright, we have refilled some stuff. One of my mail layers doesn't have a shield belt. It's Omni. Two of them. There's another shield belt here. I always clear the force wear because I don't feel like forcing them, but then I forget that I've cleared it. Oh, I guess we have a little bit of kibble left. Oh well. Not a travesty. So this spot here, we will allow for animal products as well. That's just weird. You don't need to run around with that in your inventory. But you're going to, aren't you? There we go. Do a quick inventory check. Make sure no one's holding something they shouldn't. Like slag in your bum? You know. I'd say to each his own, but slag in the bum, not allowed. So we have half the steel delivered to the slug turret. We do need some plasteel, which means we definitely need Quell or Omni or someone mining it. Now, one thing I wanted to do is to check out this item stash and then possibly swing by the prisoner camp. If I am doing that, how insulating? My gear is fairly good on Santiago. Not the greatest, but pretty good. Okay, so Pudge ate correctly. Looks like this works. This modification to our dining room has been beneficial. Milla's father. Well, that's way too many enemies. So, I'm sorry, Milla. That's probably gonna... Oh, you don't even care. What is this social? Neutral. Okay. I would if I had my full kill box up and running. I just don't yet. And also this is a messy hodgepodge of random crap kill box. It's not really all that organized. You know how I do. Looking at the overhead mountains, we're going to want some more stone. So I do get the question of why am I shaving it like this? It's because infestations can form in overhead mountain tiles, the dark green tiles. So as long as I don't expose those tiles, I limit their ability to spawn where I don't want them. Of course, the likelihood of them spawning is a lot higher if it's not light, if it's, you know, so basically the caves are a lot more likely to have infestations than where I'm currently mining. But even with that said, I'd rather minimize my risk by not opening up giant swaths of the map to infestation zones. They're super dangerous. There's a lot of them. I'd like to keep them at a minimum. So I'm finding where the overhead mountain is, and there's no way to get rid of... Whoa, really? Oh, compacted machinery is right there. There's no way to get rid of overhead mountain. You're stuck with it. You can fill it in again. You can literally just shove blocks of stone like I did here to fill it in, but once you've exposed it, you know, you're stuck with it for life. Alright, so we have a sandstone door. I need a door here. These are just really kind of blobby, weird kill box design. There's not a lot of logic here. If you're trying to wonder what and why I'm doing what I'm doing. Ideally what I would have is no way for it to be bypassable, meaning walls everywhere. And maybe I'll go ahead and do that, which would mean getting rid of these sandbags. I think that's probably a keener design. So we got the long-range mineral scanner. Now for the Starflight basics. Philly, is there really nothing else you could be working on? I guess if that's true, I'm not going to knock you for researching. Psychic drone high for females. Lovely. Just divine. And a heat wave in the middle of the summer. Okay, well I guess we're about to see how hot it can get. For now, I'm going to finish off the kill box just by walling it off like this. Try to keep the enemies from behind it. Alright, heat wave record. I do think that the kitchen might be hurting for some AC. So, mostly because, well, partially because we're leaving rice in the door. Why are you fighting me? You are hogging stuff. I don't want you to pick it up. I want you to haul it. Okay, this is one of the reasons I avoid using mods, because I'm literally, not even figuratively. Okay, oops. Speaking of mods, fighting the pawns. Roman Jenny, Santiago, and it's starting to decay, as it would. Mudge, go back to bed. This is like the worst weapon to be using. My animals here, I guess I'll just have a temporary place for them. Okay, Lancer's already dead. Mostly Scythers, which is to be expected, although slightly obnoxious, because they are shredding us good. Right eye just got cut out. And we have a scratch scar. Omni finished. Same with Santiago. Quell here is actually dead. We do have the res serum, so that was for rainy days like this. I'm obviously going to have to militarize the inside of my base better and focus on armor and the like. Okay, you guys finished up. So Milla, you need to be rescued. Earth, you're going to... Roman, you are going to actually rescue Milla, because you can do some doctoring. Oh, no, you can't. Alright, Philly to the bed. Santiago's already in there. Time to start tending. Now, using my resurrecting power... Using my resurrecting powers, we will bring her back to life. Res sickness with no other maladies. That's great. Well, thanks, Raid. You suck, Raid. Animals. You are free to be animals again. I apologize. This heat wave is indeed spoiling my meat. Just more survival meals, I guess. While I try to add air conditioning. We saved Milla, but barely. Got some tattered apparel on Quell. She's the only one that needs treatment. Obviously, we're going to queue up a bionic eye on Milla. Quell's got a little bit of res sickness, but we wouldn't let her die. Hell no. We're filling in the holes in our roofs. We have a lot of dromedary meat spoiling because it is almost 200 degrees out. It's literally almost boiling. Disease infection in his right leg. Okay. Disease and infection. Jenny, tend to that with actual meds this time. And a lot is happening. Okay, I get it. Meat spoils. Yeah. And I love how we're making survival meals off the eggs. How long will the... Yeah, see, they won't spoil for a while now. So let's fix this. Survival meals, don't use animal products. There we go. That was a messy fight. I don't feel great about. But it happens. Hopefully we don't have another death, or I'm going to have to keep one of my pawns on cold storage while we try to get res serum. Milla got an infection too. Okay, she gets real meds as well. Jenny, I know you're healing, but we need you to doctor. Now, could that have been avoided? Partially, I suppose. I could definitely have more turrets inside my base like this one. I've been trying to build up my kill box for obvious reasons to prevent enemies from storming me, but I suppose there are things I could do to prevent problems like that in the future. So I'll I'll think about ways to deal with mechs and the like, because they do like to drop on my head a lot, and until I get some decent amount of marine armor and things like that, this will be a common problem, I suppose. Alright. She can't even move. She's still trying to replace blood in her body. Yeah, I was lucky that I only had one death there. That was definitely a terrible event. So it is almost boiling out. Our freezer is definitely frozen. Our kitchen, however, is not so. But that's okay. We used up all the meat that we had at the moment to crank out a bunch of survival meals, so that we don't keep looking at the message of spoiling over and over and over again, which got old. You really ought to be in bed. You have an infection just as bad as I do. I did want to send Santiago up here, and I still do. Maybe just when she's healed. Oh, yeah, we are just a few degrees off from boiling. Why is Kibble in there? It's just really strange. Yeah, our kitchen is definitely not holding up. Now, I'm not going to design a kitchen to handle peak cold. That just doesn't really make that much sense. Or peak heat. You know, I want it to handle the high averages, but not peak, because that's just more effort than I need to put in. Alright, so we have a bionic eye, and I guess we are going to install it. Right eye was cut out, so in the right eye. And Jenny's doing it. Her manipulation is weakened a little, so I'm actually going to suspend this until Jenny's better healed. Alright, so if we have a bunch of additional survival meals, we could probably stockpile them a little bit better. Survival meals. Let's rename this 1. Oops. Copy the settings, paste the settings. And store them over there. And we are getting a bunch of idle pawns, and that's not bad. So meat storage, veg storage. Veg storage doesn't look like it's storing veg, is it? Meat storage is meat and animal products. Okay, yeah, that's a little bit better. Alright, the heat wave is definitely breaking, because I can tell, because it's not boiling out right now. So that's good. We're currently working on the kill box walls. Santi is fully healed. So, Santi, you are going to launch mostly just to scout. And not much else. We're just going to have you scout around. Assign Santiago to... we'll call standard food all food. And just make it all food. Okay, and get going. I'm not really planning on necessarily engaging. We're just going to see what's what's up. And I'm sending her because she's the jogger, so she'll be able to get out of dodge quickly if it's bad. I do, however, just realized I am massively over my time, just because so much stuff happened all at once. So this will have to be a bit of a cliffhanger. I'm sorry about that. So just a reminder, these are pre-recorded, but that doesn't mean I don't want your feedback. So if you have any feedback for me, tips, specifically if you have any tips to deal with mechs landing on your head inside your base, I can think of some ways to deal with it, like EMP grenades, better armor, maybe even a maze built into the base that I can lure them into to get them killed, something like that. But if you have your own unique or novel ideas, I'd love to hear that, because that's one thing that obviously got Quell killed, well, sort of killed this episode. And I hope you have a wonderful holiday season, and tune in next time. Thanks, everyone, for watching. Adios.